what a game that was last night by the New York Giants. A team that started off 0-3. Things were looking really bad with Russell Wilson. And thank goodness Brian Daboll decided to start Jaxson Dart, because what we've seen the past 3 weeks have been nothing short of incredible. You have the Giants with Dart as a rookie in his first 3 starts, beating the Chargers and beating the Philadelphia Eagles, who just won a Super Bowl. And I think seeing the combination of Skattebo and Jaxson Dart, I don't know if there's a duo like them in the NFL. And they're honest. I mean, the Giants overall, because of Skattebo and because of Jaxson Dart, I really feel like they may be the most entertaining team in the NFL. I did not expect that to be the case when watching Giants football. But even before the game last night, as I'm getting ready to turn it on, Eagles, Giants, I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm excited to watch this game. Why was I excited? Because Jaxson Dart brings this energy, and so does Skattebo, and the combination of the two of them, watching them after touchdowns, watching them in that, I don't know if you guys watched the post game on Amazon Prime, the post game where Jaxson Dart gets them to rip their shirts off, and Skattebo like chest bumps Fitzpatrick there. It's a pretty exciting sight for New York that just had such a bad start. And seeing what they did last night specifically, beating the Philadelphia Eagles 34-17, and you look at the fact that the Giants were without Malik Neighbors, they're without Slayton as well. And so you have receivers there in Robinson and a few other guys where, I mean, they're not top tier type receivers, and Jaxson Dart was still making it happen. He is incredible with his legs, his ability to run, his ability to scramble. And then you had Skattebo, like 98 yards, 3 touchdowns. They are just a dominant duo, a great combination. And looking at the Giants' decision to draft Dart at 25, it feels like just after these first 3 games, it is still very early, but it feels like years down the line, this is going to be one of those decisions when you look at Dart falling all the way to 25, where I think teams in the future may think to themselves, why in the world did we not draft Jaxson Dart? The team specifically that I'm thinking is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were, a few picks ahead of them. And I know they have Aaron Rodgers. I thought they should have gone with a quarterback potentially just to prepare for the time when Rodgers leaves. They could have had Jaxson Dart learning behind Aaron Rodgers, but honestly, I'm glad that the Giants ended up getting Dart just because of what is happening here with the New York Giants. And so they are 2-4, but I think that there should be some patience with this team just because of what we're starting to see from them. And last week they had a really bad game against the Saints, a lot of turnovers, a lot of sloppy play. But to beat 2 of the best teams in the NFL as a rookie who has only started a few games, it's pretty incredible. And I think, I feel like Brian Daboll's job is now safe just because it feels like they've hit on their quarterback. It feels like Jaxson Dart is the answer. And Daboll had a ton of success with Josh Allen. Then he comes to New York. They make the playoffs with Daniel Jones. And then things have gone south the past few seasons. But with the Giants' decision to bring in Dart and what we've seen so far, it feels to me like the identity of the Giants going into the future is now sort of set with Jaxson Dart as, the main guy there, with Skattebo, just having these young players. And then I feel like Brian Daboll clearly loves these guys and wants them out there, because you clearly saw when Dart goes down and they're having him in the blue medical tent, Russell Wilson comes in, throws a really bad pass. I don't know if the receiver ran the wrong route, what was going on there. It was just sloppy. The fans booed him. I felt sort of bad for Russell Wilson there. But you could see how intent or how much Brian Daboll was wanting Jaxson Dart to get back out there. He clearly knew we can't stay with Russell Wilson right now. His urgency of trying to get Dart out there, yelling at I think it was the medical staff, like trying to get him back out there. You have Skattebo going into the blue tent as well, which I haven't seen many other players. At least they haven't shown many players going into the blue tent. And so you clearly see how much Brian Daboll is, how sold he is on Jaxson Dart. And so I think looking ahead, I feel like Daboll's job is going to be safe. I feel like this is a team that is on the come up, the way they've beaten these other teams. And even if this season, let's say that they have, a lot of ups and downs and don't make the playoffs because they started off 0-3, it's tough to get out of a hole like that. I feel like this is a team where you should have some patience with them because they are with a new young quarterback in Jaxson Dart. And he feels like the type of guy that you can sort of rely on to make a deep playoff run. And just the way, like, I think when you look at lots of these quarterbacks around the NFL, you have teams like the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, the Bills with Josh Allen, you have Lamar Jackson. These teams that just have these quarterbacks where come playoff time, if you don't have a guy who is at least somewhat near their caliber when it comes to just ability to escape the pocket, to extend plays, it's so hard to beat these teams come playoff time if you have just an average quarterback who doesn't really bring a lot when it comes to just his scrambling ability, things like that. And it's still very, very early for Jaxson Dart. But I think what he brings with his legs, what he brings with his ability to scramble around the pocket, extend plays, it led to the Giants being 11 of 16 last night on third down. And so when you just have that added skill set of a player who can extend it with their legs, that just brings so much to your team, because there are going to be times where defenses totally blanket cover you and you have to make something happen. And if you have a statue quarterback back there that does not have that ability to make things happen with his legs, it just leaves you vulnerable to defenses that cover really well. Now, if you have Jaxson Dart here, we've seen what he can do with his legs, and so it just gives you that added element to your offense. And so I think moving forward, I think the Giants are set. I think Jaxson Dart is clearly the guy. I think that they hit on the quarterback. I think that Cam Skattebo falling around 4 looks foolish. And sometimes these decisions, it's almost like you wonder, how does someone like Skattebo fall to round 4? And not even just what he brings as a player, but clearly the energy that Skattebo brings to this team, along with Jaxson Dart, it has totally shifted things in New York. And I think that sometimes, when it comes to players and the energy they bring, sort of like just how intense they are, how much love they have for the game, it definitely matters. And I think we see it here with New York, because the energy in that stadium, you can just feel a total shift when it comes to this New York Giants team. It's like the fans know that something has changed in New York, and it feels like that change is going to continue on. And because it's these young rookies who are playing really well, if Cam Skattebo wasn't dominating and scoring 3 touchdowns and running over guys, I don't think that a rookie would, being that intense, you sort of have to bring your play as well, because if there'd be a rookie there who wasn't doing anything, wasn't scoring, was just sort of streaming all the time, I think people would be like, what's up with this guy? But when you have Skattebo running over players, running through guys, scoring multiple touchdowns, you have Jaxson Dart sacrificing his body, diving at guys. Clearly, people have talked about how, Skattebo is rubbing off on Jaxson Dart. They're butting heads before the game. I think the Giants may be the most entertaining team in the NFL. Like, when it comes to teams I want to watch, the Giants are now up on that list, and that is not something I expected to have happen this season. And so I think that the Giants are in a very, very good spot when it comes to what's going on here and what's going to happen in their future. Those are my thoughts for today. If you guys want more NFL content, I put out NFL content a lot of days here on this channel, so feel free to subscribe down below. You can follow me on Twitter at LukeBeller3, and I'll see you guys next time.